October 4th, 2000 was the day that I was born and one of the best days. Many cultural events during that year that helped shape people, companies, and trends in the United States. These events have left a significant impact on the current state we live in today. There should be better standards and regulations when it comes to politics and companies that deal with harmful materials such as coal, fossil fuels, chemicals, etc. Not only should people with minimum status be held accountable, but people with higher standards should be too. Overall, the year 2000 included many significant events that impacted the lives we live today. The first major event was the presidential election between George W. Bush and Al Gore, election which tore the country apart with long-lasting effects which can still be seen in the last presidential election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. The second was a coal sludge spill that happened in Nez, Kentucky. The coal tailing dams of Martin County Coal Corporation preparation plant failed and released a slurry consisting of an estimated 250 million gallons of water and 155,000 cubic yards of coal waste into local streams. About 75 miles of rivers and streams turned into an iridescent black, causing a fish kill along the Tug Fork in the Big Sandy River. Towns along the Tug were forced to turn off their drinking water intakes. This event proved to be one of the worst environmental disasters ever in the southeastern United States. The EPA has taken measures to investigate this site and make restoration plans, but a decade later there are still water quality issues in Martin County, and people are still finding sludge and slurry in surface water, such as streams. The last significant event was when Bill Gates stepped down as CEO. When Bill Gates announced this, it was a big surprise because during this time period, Microsoft was facing a possible move by the U.S. government to break the company into two or more pieces as a result of an antitrust trial. This was major because it was the beginning of implementing laws with technological advances. This was also the last major antitrust trial until recently with concerns over Facebook. These events are the most significant because they show us that history repeats itself. November 7th, 2000 was when the 54th presidential election held in the United States. The 2000 president election was held between Al Gore and George W. Bush, and it was a contested presidency. On election night, one state was still undecided, Florida. Many analysts had speculated that Florida would be the deciding factor of who would win the election. That would seem true because Florida's electoral votes had still hadn't come through that night, and there was such a slim margin of uncertainty who won. What's interesting about this is that there had been speculation that the election was rigged, which caused major discern in the public and was not resolved by a full recount of votes, but rather a Supreme Court split between partisan lines. After a month of recounts and legal battles, it was decided that Bush had won 5-4. October 11th, 2000, in Martin County, Kentucky, proved to be one of the worst environmental disasters ever in the southeastern United States. The coal tailings dam of Martin Coal County Corporation's plants failed and released a slurry consisting of an estimated 250 million gallons of water and 155,000 cubic yards of coal waste into local streams. One of the worst environmental disasters had a long-lasting impact on the people of Nez, Kentucky, and Martin County, but the people in charge and responsible for spill were not held accountable. The EPA had taken measures to investigate this site and make restoration plans, but a decade later, there are still water quality issues in Martin County, and people are still finding sludge and slurry in surface water, such as streams. The owners of Martin County Coal Corporation were not found guilty, and their cases were dropped. Bush had taken office at this point in time, and it was found that the Martin County Coal Corporation had donated to the Republican Party. January 13th, 2000 was when Bill Gates stepped down as CEO. Bill Gates stepped down as CEO to focus on a charity foundation with wife Melinda Gates. But the time was odd as it was during an antitrust trial with Microsoft was facing. Gates' role in Microsoft was once to dominate the competition, a mentality that a lot of Silicon Valley companies take part in. The antitrust law case against Microsoft was the first in its categories of monopolizing the internet. It was against Microsoft installing Internet Explorer on every computer and not letting other browsers like Netscape compete. This significantly affects our daily lives today, with Facebook and Google running a monopoly on the majority of the daily technology we use today, and how the government will bring them to trial on antitrust regulations. The year 2000 was filled with many events. Almost 2 decades later, still impact the United States and how it operates. And as we can see, history repeats. The majority of issues faced in the year 2000 widely presents that current state we live in, with growing concern for the government, monopolies running rampant in technology, and turning a blind eye to environmental disasters made by major corporations. These events were the changing points of a lot of events that happened between 2000 through 2019, and helped policies, charities, and more environmental conscious people. From the 2000 presidential election to the sludge spill to Bill Gates stepping down, these events helped shape the society we live in today. History repeats itself.